Hey there, welcome to Violet's DIY Style. I'm Violet. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope you consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to click on that bell button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how I made these adorable s'mores tier tray decor pieces. You can use these anywhere, but I specifically made them for my tier tray. So the first project we're going to be making is actually the s'mores garland. And what I got the idea from was I got this Rubik's Cube toy at Dollar Tree, and it's just these wood cubes, and I was so excited that it had the actual drilled opening in each one of these beads. So that's how I got my idea, just by that Rubik's Cube. Then what I did was just simply cut it open and unraveled that Rubik's Cube. Then I grabbed some wood pieces from Dollar Tree as well. These are just some small wood pieces that they have there. And I just mixed brown and white together to make kind of like a graham cracker color, and painted each one of these little wood pieces. Then I just wiped them down a little bit just to give it more of a grainy look. Once they were completely dry, I went ahead and just drilled an opening or a hole right in the center of each one of these wood pieces. Now I'm trying to use this little project drill, but it didn't work as good as I liked it. So I just basically got my screwdriver and just drilled a little opening in each one of these wood pieces. But you can easily do it with some pair of scissors as well. So after I did that, I just went ahead and grabbed my jute twine and started making my garland simply by making a pattern, and you can do it any way you want. I just added a graham cracker or a piece of wood chip. Then I got one of the white wood beads and then the dark chocolate wood beads. So in other words, it would be a graham cracker, marshmallow, and then some chocolate. And I just continued the same pattern until I was completely done making the length I wanted as my garland. You can make quite a long garland using these beads. I did have quite a few still left over once I was done making my garland, so you could make quite a long one. Mine is roughly about 12 inches in length once I was completely done. But this is the way it starts looking. So you just, again, start adding your graham cracker, your little beads, until you're completely happy. Once you're happy with the length of your garland, just go ahead and double knot the end of one. And it really doesn't matter what side you pick to make the end, at least for me, because I ended up making like a graham cracker on each end. So I just double knotted it and cut any of that extra rope away. And then I also added a little bit of glue right at that knot just to make sure it stayed in place. Then the top part, I just made a loop to make an opening, and if I wanted to hang it anywhere. And then there you go. This is your simple s'mores garland. Now you can leave it like this. It looks adorable just as is, but I just wanted to add some extra little touches to make mine my own style. So what I decided to do was just grab a few different color ribbons that I had that kind of matched or reminded me of s'mores. And all of these are from Dollar Tree. And I just grabbed them all three together and made a simple knot or a simple bow. Once I was done making that bow, I just kind of adjusted everything, made sure it looked nice and neat. And then I grabbed one of these little wood pieces from Dollar Tree as well. And these are like one of the note tags. And I just used one of the furniture markers, painted it dark brown, and then used a silver marker to write a little design on here. And I just put time for treats, or snack time, I'm sorry, on here on this little tag. So you can even use your Cricut if you don't want to write on here, or even some stickers. I just decided to go ahead and write mine down with the marker, and then I just used that tag with my bow by attaching it with some jute twine. I thought this was so cute. I wanted something for spring, something fun, not just something that I would change, especially on this one tier tray. I tend to have quite a few different tier trays in my home, but this one, I just wanted it to be a little bit more fun and festive. So when I decided to go with this s'mores theme because of the beads that I found. I had so much fun making them that I think I'm just going to do quite a few different things with s'mores just for that little section of area in my home, because I thought it was so adorable to add all these things to the tier trays. Have you ever done anything like this? Just made a theme, not just a holiday theme, but just, you know, a random theme and add it to your tier trays. I'd like to know what kind of themes you guys have used. Maybe I'll use some of them or make some of my tier trays the same. So this is the way your garland ends up looking. So I just set that aside, and then I decided to go ahead and make a large s'mores. And I'm just using some large wood pieces, again from Dollar Tree. These are the square ones. And I'm just using the same two mixture of brown and white to mix it together. And I apologize about my camera. My stand broke and I had to use a different stand that's actually on my table, so it tends to shake. But I promise hopefully my stand will come in soon, so this won't happen again. But once I was done painting each one of the squares, I just wiped them down the same way and then set them aside and allowed them to dry. Now I'm just recycling one of these foam dices that you can get. Usually they're 2 in a package, and I'm just painting this one white. And I did want to use the trick of using a balloon to wrap these dice in, but I didn't have a white balloon, so I ended up having to paint it. But what I did notice is, since this one was already painted gray, I just had to give it one good white coat, and it was perfectly fine that way. So that might be something you might want to do, just give it a dark coat before you decide to paint it white. So once everything was dry, I just went ahead and grabbed everything and started piling it together. Now for the chocolate on this one, I just decided to grab my apple barrel chocolate paint, which is the chocolate brown color, and then I just kind of put it all around the edge of my dice or my marshmallow. And I just allowed it to drip any way it wanted to, and then just put a thin line all around the edge. And just push it down and just allowed it to kind of drip wherever it wanted. And then I just placed the other wood piece right on top to make my s'mores. Now I've seen these with faces, and you can make a face on here with your Cricut or stickers, but I just wanted it to look more like a s'mores, so I left it as is. Then I used the same 2 tan and brown color ribbon to just tie a little knot around my s'mores. There's so many different ideas that I have now with s'mores, so hopefully I'll be making another tutorial with a few more different ideas. We'll see if I end up making them, and if I do, like I said, I'll end up making a tutorial for you guys to share, and maybe you guys can make the same tier tray I am. So this is the way my s'mores looked at the end. So now I had one of these Christmas gnomes that I wanted to make it to fit into my tier tray as well. So what I decided to do was just grab some of this burlap ribbon, and I ended up cutting 4 strips, not 3, because it wasn't wide enough with just 3. So go ahead and just glue all 4 of your pieces together. And I just added a little line of glue right at the edge and tied 2 together, or glued 2 of the ribbons together. Then I did it on the opposite end of the center ribbon and did the same way to attach the 3rd ribbon. And then I did the same thing with the 4th one. So once you're done adding all 4 of your ribbons together to make one long fabric, what I did was just grab my gnome, and this again was one of the Christmas ones they had at Dollar Tree, and I cut the front part of it off, which had that Christmas design. And I did that because you could see through it with the burlap. So if you're going to use a darker color, you don't have to do this part. But since this was the burlap, you could see through it, and I didn't want that red color to show through. So I just removed that one section off. Now it does have a thin little liner on here, so you'll see me just kind of pull that away and then just attach it back. And now I'm just going to use the burlap that I glued together to form my hat. I just added a line of glue right at the edge, let that dry, and then flipped it over and then attached it to the back. And you can just glue it to make that point, but I just wanted to go ahead and add a little touch. So what I did was basically leave it more long, my hat, instead of making that one point. And then I decided to go ahead and grab some of this dark chocolate or dark brown burlap that I had, just an extra little piece that I found. And I decided to go ahead and make a trimming to make it seem like it was dripped chocolate on this gnome. So what I did was just unravel one section of it. And instead of cutting it into a thinner section of burlap, I just folded that top part to make it a thinner kind of a ribbon style. And then I'm just going to glue that all around the edge of my hat. And I just added an extra piece of ribbon. Since you could see that there still was an extra piece missing, I just grabbed some more and did the same thing until it was all completely covered. So once it's all done, I went ahead and just set that aside and allowed it to start drying. Then I grabbed one of those beads from the Rubik's Cube again, and then I grabbed a popsicle stick. This is one of the larger ones, but you can use a popsicle stick, a painter stick, or even those wood pieces that we used for the graham crackers at the beginning. Any kind of little piece of wood, just large enough to fit that bead in. And what we're going to do is make a miniature s'mores for our gnome. So I just kind of used my box cutter to cut those two little sections. Then I grabbed one of the permanent markers, and this is like a copper brown color, and just colored it in. And you can paint this or stain it as well. Make sure you do front and back and also all the sides in order for it to look like a realistic graham cracker. And once you're done doing that to both of your little pieces of wood, what you're going to do is basically get that white square bead, and then you're going to glue that into the center of these two to make your s'mores. And then I'm just using that same furniture or dark brown marker, and I'm going to kind of just draw it on there on the edge of my bead to make it look like dripped chocolate as well. After I finished making this, I thought, wow, this would look really adorable as a garland as well. So you might want to even think about making a few of these and attaching them all together to make one long garland with little s'mores like this as well. So that would look adorable too. So once I was done making that melted chocolate look onto my bead, I just added the top one. Then I just went ahead and grabbed some jute twine, and my first thought was to make a bow, glue it onto the top, and leave some of that rope or jute twine hanging from my bow in order for me to attach it to the hat of my gnome. But I didn't like the way that looked, so what I did was basically remove that jute twine and just simply tie jute twine around the top part of my hat without the s'mores on it. And I decided to go ahead and put the s'mores into his hands instead of it hanging from the little hat. So once I was done tying the knot, I just kind of removed all that extra jute twine, and then I just trimmed the top part of his hat off, but I also unraveled it just to give it more of that little fun touch of making it look more festive. So I just grabbed my scissors and unraveled all that nautical or jute twine rope and made it just look more fringy. And then once I was done, I still had some of that brown jute twine from that I unraveled the brown chocolate around the trimming. So I just kind of put them all together and then tied it around the top part of the hat as well. But if you don't have that, you can easily use some brown ribbon too. Then I just unraveled everything. What I decided to do again was put the s'mores right in his hand. So I just added some hot glue onto his hand, held it there until it was nice and dry, and then did the same thing with his second hand. Just make sure you do hold onto it until it's dry, because if not, it'll just fall off. And there you have it, an adorable s'mores gnome. So I had one of these extra bows with the same ribbon that I used for my other projects, so I just added it onto the hat just to give it that fun look. And this is the way it all looks put together. So I absolutely think this is so adorable, so cute. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to be making this and what other themes have you made your tier trays with. And again, if you do enjoy this tutorial, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and also subscribe. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Bye.